Hey everybody, Jake here with American Trucks, and today I'm chatting with Richard about his 2016 Silverado 1500. Richard, welcome. Thanks so much for being here with us today.
Hey there.
All right, so I want to go over your build for everybody who's watching at home. Richard is driving a 2016 Silverado 1500 LT. For wheels, he's running the Pro Comp 32 Series Banditos in flat black. These are a 17 by 9 inch wheel with a -6mm offset, making for an aggressive stance. For tires, he's running the Yokohama Geolandar ATs. These are 285/70 R17s, equating to about a 33 by 11 inch tire. And then for suspension, he's got the Rough Country 3.5 inch lift kit with the lifted N3 struts and N3 shocks, as well as the Road Active suspension leaf spring enhancement kit. So, Richard, I was looking through pictures of your truck earlier, and I make no secret about it. I like my Chevys. Can you tell me a little bit about why you went with this setup? Was there some kind of inspiration or goal behind your build?
So the tires I wanted to go with because I put them on my Yukon, and I was just super happy with how they ran off-road and also how they ran on the highway. And then the lift, just wanted to get a little bit more clearance. It is a wider, it's got a longer wheelbase than the Yukon, so wanted to put a little bit bigger lift on it just to give it a little more space. The wheels, definitely not inset into the wheel well. It is my daily driver. Thankfully, I don't drive very far to work. I work for a family business, so I think I've got like a 4-mile drive. Yeah, the main goal was to make a setup in the back to where we could sleep. I built a little wooden platform in the back so I could have all my camping stuff in there so we can just pack up and roll out real quick.
So the wheels in particular, they're the Pro Comp wheels 32 Series Banditos in flat black. They're 17 by 9s with that -6mm offset. Now we would classify a -6mm offset with these wheels on this truck as an aggressive stance because there is a tiny bit of poke. But it really sort of toes the line between flush and aggressive, wouldn't you say? So I know you said you picked them because you like them, but what initially drew you to them?
I was looking for a black rim. I liked the appearance of the black. The width was another reason. You know, putting the right tire on the wheel is important, or the right wheel for the tire is important. Didn't want to go bigger because I didn't want to have to mess around with, re-gearing and anything like that. Didn't want to lose too much power. Definitely lost some power, I can feel it, but not enough to need to re-gear it.
And this sits pretty much as flush as you're really going to get with aftermarket wheels and tires. You really don't have anything poking out from the fender at all, do you?
No, nope, just barely the sidewall. That's it.
What made you then go with the 17?
I like the 17-inch rim because the picture you saw me driving on the beach, airing down your tire when you're out on the beach is pretty important. One, it keeps the tracks nice and clean, and also it just makes it a lot easier to drive out there. And so with that shorter rim, or the tinier rim, you can get a little bit more stretch when you air down.
These are the Yokohama Geolandar ATs. They're 285/70 R17s, so it's about a 33 by 11 inch tire. So they're, a little bit bigger than what you would have had effectively stock, correct?
I think it's 2 sizes up from what the stock tire says to put on there.
Mm-hmm. Okay, yeah, a little bit wider, a little bit larger overall then. So these are all terrains. They're not super duper aggressive or anything. They're not mud terrains or anything like that. So what made you go with those versus something that would have been a little bit more aggressive?
Road noise was a big one for me. I'm not a big fan of hearing that wah 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 down the highway. I figured that would get annoying to me. And the truth is I don't drive on the trail every day, all day. So a lot of it is driving on the road. And the Geolandar tires, they do great on the road and on the trail. It's fantastic.
And how do they do out in the sand? I know you're airing them down, so that helps your case, but how have they done when you have taken them off the beaten path?
Fantastic. I did get stuck one time in that South Carolina clay-like mud, and they're not mud tires, so they did cake up pretty good. But if it's sand, gravel, like rocky roads, those tires are perfect.
Again, you've got the Rough Country 3.5 inch lift kit that had the lifted N3 struts and the N3 shocks in it. And you've also got the Road Active suspension leaf spring enhancement kit. Was the 3.5 inch lift a compromise to get the wheels on? What was the goal with getting the lift and picking that size in particular?
The lift was mostly to make it a little more capable, give that body a little bit, get it higher up off the ground, mostly because the wheelbase is longer. So if you're going over some rolling dips or ditches or whatever, just a little bit something to get that nose off the ground because the stock trucks sit really low.
Yeah, especially with it. Now it looks like you took part of the air dam off the front.
Yep. Yep, took the whole thing off, and that added like over a foot of clearance.
So safe to say then you don't have any issues with rubbing, fitment of the tires or anything like that? No clearance issues?
Nope.
How does it drive now versus how it did stock? Any different, any harder out on the road or anything like that?
I will say that the suspension, the rough country suspension, is a little bit stiffer than the Rancho suspension that was on there before, which I kind of like, but I did notice I like the Rancho one when you're driving through like a field where it's not like super bumpy, but it's a little bit. It was really smooth, which was nice. So one thing I'm not a big fan of is squat. I wanted a level truck, and then I realized on that first trip that because I have that camper shell on top, because I have the box that I put in there built out, you loaded it down with all your camping gear, you're gonna get some squat. And with the lift that leveled it, definitely gonna get some more squat. And so these active suspension things kind of help keep the spring bowed so it doesn't like flatten out, keeps it a little bend to it. It actually lifted the rear, I think like 2 inches when I put the heavy duty active suspension ones on there. And yeah, it stiffens it up. Doesn't really stiffen the ride unloaded. It kind of stiffens it up once it gets loaded, and it just makes it really smooth. It's not too bumpy or anything.
Are you pretty satisfied with how it looks and how it drives and everything now?
Yeah, I'm pretty satisfied. I walk up to it, I'm like, yeah, it looks like a good truck.
If you were to go back and do this all over again, start totally fresh, is there anything you'd do differently if you still knew what you knew now?
I would do a little bit more research on like a 2-inch lift. 3 is, it's not too aggressive or anything. So only thing I would probably do different would be a little bit smaller lift.
I think it looks great. It's a nice setup. It's pretty subtle. But here's the big question then. What's next?
The one thing I want to do to the truck next is, and I think it's a custom job because I don't like how I want to put a front end hitch receiver on it for a number of things. I've got a little basket to put out front. I've carried my bikes on the front just because I'm towing the boat or something. Put a winch on there, but I want to make it so that the hitch sits high.
Well, Richard, thank you so much for being here with us today and talking about your truck. I'm excited to see what you do next with it. Keep us posted on that hitch. I think that's going to be kind of interesting. See how you figure that out. And thank you again for taking the time to be here with us today.
Absolutely. It was a pleasure chatting with you.
I just want to run through your build one more time for everybody who's watching at home. Richard, again, is driving a 2016 Silverado 1500 LT. For wheels, he's got the Pro Comp 32 Series Banditos in flat black. These are 17 by 9 inch wheels with a negative 6mm offset, making for an aggressive stance. For tires, he's running the Yokohama Geolandar ATs. These are 285/70/17s, equating to about a 33 by 11 inch tire. And then for suspension, he's got the Rough Country 3.5 inch lift kit with the lifted N3 struts and N3 shocks, as well as the Road Active Suspension Leaf Spring Enhancement Kit. So Richard, thank you again for being here with us today. Thank you all for watching, and as always, for all things Silverado, be sure to keep it right here at AmericanTrucks.com.